It was an honor to be received by the President of Faso this morning. The primary purpose of my recent visit was to really get to know the nation of Burkina Faso much better. I had very insightful discussions with the President of Faso. We discussed Burkina Faso's economic performance and the implementation of reforms in Burkina Faso, supported by the International Monetary Fund. And these discussions were very insightful, very productive. Burkina Faso's macroeconomic framework is stabilizing and very good reforms are being implemented. We agreed that the cooperation between the International Monetary Fund and Burkina Faso is stronger than ever, and we said that we are ready to support you even more, to look in the same direction, to support and accompany Burkina Faso's efforts.
A very positive and highly robust partnership. It was a great honor.
A few years ago, if someone told you the IMF would visit Burkina Faso not to dictate, not to threaten, not to impose loans, but to acknowledge progress, many would have laughed. But today, here we are. The IMF's Deputy Managing Director, Kenji Okamura, walks into Ouagadougou. Not with ultimatums, not with austerity scripts, but with words Africa rarely hears from global financial institutions. Positive, credible, resilient. And this comes just days after Captain Ibrahim Traoré is executing mega projects without loans. No begging, no debt traps, no permission slips. So the question is simple and dangerous. Is this a blessing, or is this the beginning of a new trap? Because in Africa's history, nothing involving the IMF is ever just a visit. Let's talk facts. Not propaganda, not slogans. Facts. Under Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso is showing results that many said were impossible without foreign loans. 90% performance rate in key economic targets. Stabilized public finances, food sovereignty rising, record gold output, 94 tons, mega projects launched without IMF or World Bank loans. For decades, Africa was told a lie. You cannot develop without debt. You cannot build without permission. You cannot stand without crutches from abroad. But Burkina Faso is quietly proving something different. Discipline can replace debt. Planning can replace begging. Sovereignty can replace submission. And suddenly, the same institutions that used to lecture Africa are now showing up to observe. Let's be honest. The IMF does not travel for sightseeing. The IMF does not visit countries just to clap hands. The IMF moves when something strategic is happening. Kenji Okamura's visit sends a message to the world. Burkina Faso is no longer a collapsed state. Burkina Faso is no longer a beggar economy. Burkina Faso is now a case study. And listen to the words carefully. Positive, credible, resilient. Those are not emotional words. Those are financial, institutional, strategic words. They mean your numbers make sense. Your direction is working. Your economy is not collapsing. Your state is not failing. In simple terms, Burkina Faso is doing better than expected without obeying the old script. And that changes everything. Now here's the part many people missed. The IMF delegation also visited the Thomas Sankara Memorial. That is not tourism. That is symbolism. Thomas Sankara stood for economic independence, dignity over debt, production over consumption, African solutions for African problems. And today, decades later, Burkina Faso is walking back toward that same philosophy. Produce what you eat, control what you mine, finance what you build, decide your own future. So when the IMF stands at Sankara's memorial, the message is loud, even if unspoken. Africa's old ideas are coming back with new results. Look around. No social media noise can hide 94 tons of gold output. No propaganda can fake stabilize finances. No speeches can manufacture food sovereignty. These are hard results. And this is why people across Africa are paying attention. Because Burkina Faso is showing something dangerous to the old system. That you can build first and negotiate later. That you can produce first and borrow less. That you can stand first and explain later. This is not perfection. This is not magic. This is direction. And direction is what many African states lost for decades. Now let's be real. Very real. Africa's history with the IMF is painful. Structural adjustment programs, cut subsidies, sell state assets, freeze wages, open markets, close factories, increase poverty, reduce sovereignty. So when the IMF comes smiling, we must ask, are they here to support success? Or are they here to manage and control it? Because often the pattern is simple. 1. A country shows independence. 2. It shows growth outside the system. 3. The system comes closer. 4. With advice. 5. Then with support. 6. Then with conditions. 7. Then with control. So the danger is not the visit. The danger is what follows. The real test for Burkina Faso is this. Can it engage without surrendering? Can it negotiate without submitting? Can it cooperate without losing direction? Captain Ibrahim Traoré is not being judged by speeches anymore. He's being judged by roads, food, factories, security, production, jobs, stability. And so far, the trajectory is positive, but success attracts pressure. Pressure from foreign interests, financial institutions, geopolitical players, old systems that don't like new examples. Because a sovereign Burkina Faso is not just a country, it is a message. And messages spread. So today, we ask again, is this IMF visit a blessing or is it a trap? The honest answer is, it depends on who controls the direction. If Burkina Faso stays focused on sovereignty, production, disciplined African priorities, then this moment becomes a victory of dignity. But if the old debt scripts return, if conditions replace vision, if control replaces sovereignty, then history will repeat itself. One thing is certain. Burkina Faso has already proven something powerful. You don't need to beg to build. You don't need chains to grow. You don't need permission to rise. Say less. The achievements are already louder than words. If you believe Africa's future must be built on sovereignty, not dependency, hit like, subscribe, and share this video. Because the African awakening is not coming. It's already happening.